And we're all friends here, so let's get started with Carolyn Peck.
Can't hear.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. How has this changed your kind of game preparation with the weather and having to come in a day sooner than planned?
I'm glad that we came early and we didn't have to travel in, this type of weather. I think the weather has made us have to think the game a little bit more, like watching film, and having to do adjustments and know the game plan without being on the court. And that's a good sign when you're able to, do that and be locked in and engaged. Because during the playoffs, like if games come back to back, like you're not on the court as much. So this is kind of a early preparation, you can kind of say.
Last time you all made the East Coast swing, it was the same kind of thing, 3 games on the road. What did you learn from that trip as you prepare and starting off with Connecticut again on this trip?
I think just preparing each game, taking it one game at a time. I think that's got to be our focus, because when we look too far ahead, I think we get caught up in, what we have to do this whole road trip. If you just take each game its own, I think they'll be a little bit better and have us be more successful. And starting with Connecticut, we owe them one. They already have us in the series, but we need to get this win on Tuesday.
And then just looking at how you all have kicked off the second half, really starting after halftime of the first game against Washington, like what has started to really come together for you guys as you're on this stretch?
Trust in each other, every possession, offensively and defensively. I think our ability to make adjustments in game is getting a little bit better. It's just like starting off the right way. We got better, with the second game against Washington, but it also like showed us something, like we were down 20 and you can't count us out. So I think that kind of showed, I don't want to be down 20, let's not get that confused, but the ability to come back as a team the way we did, like showing that early is huge, because in the playoffs, you've seen it happen. Like people get down 15 of 15, it's a game of runs. And if you think about the, 24 point swing in order to win that game, like that's a lot. So to be able to, do that against a good team like Washington, like that shows, a competitive spirit and a good team.
Great. Thank you, Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sam?
Hey, Chelsea, going back to the travel, can you kind of walk us through what the day was like yesterday? I mean, I saw some tweets, and just can you kind of break down what that it was like getting out there?
So for me, I'm gonna go over my schedule. So I woke up at about 4:30 and had to get to the airport around 5:15, 5:30. So I woke up at 4:30, got to the airport, boarded the flight. We took off at 7 a.m. We landed in Newark Airport around 2:30 p.m. But our luggage was delayed. The luggage carousel was, when we first landed, there was an alarm, like a fire alarm going off. And there was only like 2 food options inside before going out to baggage claim. Going out to baggage claim, there's about 3 to 4 options, but a lot of us were just like kind of getting stuff just because we were hungry, not necessarily what we wanted. And then the baggage claim was broken. And so we waited at the airport for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jiggy, but an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then we had to travel here to Connecticut, but we were coming during traffic time because we were delayed an hour and a half to 2 hours at the baggage claim. And so a 3-hour trip turned to maybe like a 5-hour trip here to Connecticut. So we didn't get anything to eat until about 10:30 that night. So it's been over a 12-hour trip. We were just like, this trip is longer than when we go overseas. So it was a little bit crazy. The time travel. I should have started at 4:30 and actually knew the correct hour of our travel.
I know like travel in the way players are allowed to travel has been a conversation in the past, and I'm not exactly sure how everything works with the CBA. But after going through what y'all went through yesterday, do you feel like it's a conversation that needs to be revisited about, possibly allowing the use of charter flights and things like that?
I think this is a conversation that we've been having, and there's been resistance. And yesterday we could have probably flown charter if we were able to.
Thank you.
More importantly, Chelsea, what did you get at Walmart?
I got some water. Actually, water was sold out, the individual bottles. So here you go. I had to get this big jug here. Some water. I got some chips. I got some applesauce. I got, don't hate on the Boston baked beans. It's my dad's favorite snack, and I had it since I was a kid. So y'all don't knock it till you try it.
And then also, this isn't obviously something that the league could fix, but here at the Mohegan, I'm going to say 2/3 of the restaurants are not open because of the weather, whether they couldn't get people into work or couldn't get stuff. So this morning, I think you had your Dunkin' Donuts and your Starbucks and, all the healthy options, Johnny Rockets available for breakfast. So
yeah, I got some coffee and like a muffin. They ran out of oatmeal. So that was pretty much my option.
All right, Anne Marie.
That sounds reminiscent of Seattle, the beginning of the season, right? No food, long trip. How does Kia Stokes change things for you, particularly in this matchup versus Connecticut?
Her ability to guard and to contest at the rim, it's huge. We didn't, that is right. Like, she wasn't with us when we played Connecticut. So I think that'll be definitely a positive for us. She knows the game at a high level. She's competed against some of the best. So her ability to challenge at the rim, to be in position for our scout, and to be able to finish at the rim. A hard roller, hard-nosed player. So I think she will help a lot.
The other person who wasn't with you for either of the first two games was Kelsey Plum, certainly making a case for potentially sixth woman of the year. What kind of a dimension will she add in this matchup as well, since you didn't have her the first two times?
Yeah, I'm gonna put that out now. Sixth woman of the year. It's either her or Hamby, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So I think it'll definitely be a positive for us. She's coming off the bench, but she can easily start any team, our team. So, like, the type of player that she is, she's going to change the game, and they have to prepare for her. And they didn't have to the last two games, so it's going to be a different look for sure.
And then piggybacking off of Carolyn's question, you talked about the first game against Washington, starting slow. Kind of specifically, what went right in that second game against Washington from your point of view?
We were able to get stops and flow in transition. I also believe we made it harder on them to score. Like, they weren't getting as many wide open shots. And then so when it was deflating a little bit defensively. So we weren't scoring and getting the best shots, and some things weren't knocking down offensively. And then it translated over to our defense, where we're just giving them open shots. And so they're going to knock down shots like they're pro players. However, making it difficult for their players like Ariel Atkins, Tina Charles, to get going, keeping Natasha Cloud out of the paint a little bit more. So I think we were engaged there. We kind of switched up the game plan a little bit as well with our ball screen defense. But our defense, we were able to flow and transition and get easier stuff and get good looks down the stretch.
Enjoy those baked beans.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let me just ask one more quick question of you, Chelsea. I know we've obviously had some history with bad travel here with Vegas heading to Washington. We had our 26-hour trip a few years ago, but what were some of the other experiences you may have had in LA? What's sort of the worst, or overseas or college? Is there one that stands out that's the benchmark for you that's the worst ever?
What's crazy is that we flew charter for college, so we were good. I'm trying to remember. I think we've been stuck in the airport for hours. We've had to cancel flights before. So there's been a little bit of delay, like jumping the gun of like, okay, let's just hop on a plane if it's available for us.
Perfect. All right. We will swap you out for Destiny Slocum. Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you, guys.
Chelsea.